It's Plant Talk on KFGO. Dave Decock, welcome back to the studio.
Well, it's great to be here.
It's good to see you again. Plant Talk with Dave Decock is brought to you by Thompson Greenery, Strand Ace Hardware, Buffalo River Sales, Chisholm Trail Farm, The Garden of Healing, and Jean's The Right Plant Place. To the phone lines we go. Tim is first up. Dave?
Hi, Tim.
Hey, good afternoon, Dave.
Yes.
I was planning on planting some bulbs this fall.
Right.
And I was wondering, can I use a Preen pre-emergent in the spring? Will that kill my bulbs?
No. Preen is strictly a pre-emergent. So what it does is any weed seeds that are laying there that start to germinate, the Preen will kill them. But the bulb is already growing, and it goes right up through the Preen. The Preen doesn't affect the bulbs or the green and whatsoever. It's just to kill weed seed or seeds that try and germinate. If you were to plant them or put it in your vegetable garden and plant seeds, of course, it would kill them too. But when you're planting something like potatoes with the eyes or tomatoes that are really transplants, the Preen isn't going to be a problem.
Okay, good. I was planting tulips and gladiolas and sort of things.
Not gladiolas, because those don't overwinter outside. You'd have to wait and plant gladiolas in the spring, but tulips, hyacinths, daffodils, hydrangea, those kind of things could all be done in the fall.
Okay, great, Dave. Thank you.
Sure, great. Anytime. Call again.
Thanks, Tim. Let's get to Kathy. She's up next.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Dave.
Yes.
I have a problem with squirrels getting and eating the new growth on my pine trees, acorns and the new growth.
Right. That's not unusual.
Is there something I can do to sway the squirrels from doing so?
Well, you can get a have-a-heart trap or something and put an apple with some peanut butter on in there, and you can catch them, and then you can haul them away. But if you do haul them away, take them a long ways because they're good at coming back. But okay. There is no, it's a common thing for them to go up in trees. They'll go up in deciduous trees, too, and chew the tips off, and you'll find little pieces of branch on the ground. And that's typically what squirrels will do, but they will do it on non-evergreens as well as evergreens.
Okay.
I have a terrible time with them with my apples because they like to go in the tree, chew on an apple, throw it on the ground, and then go chew on another apple. So they're really a nuisance for that kind of thing.
Good. There really isn't any spray or anything to deter
No,
them.
not really. There are repellents you could get, but any repellent you get, when it rains, it washes it off.
Yeah.
And of course, maybe it's a good idea now. Maybe we could get some rain, but once it starts raining, it washes it off right away. So,
okay. Thank you.
Anytime. Bye-bye, Kathy.
Thanks for the call. Someone said that they have lots of flower buds on their tomato plants, but no tomatoes. What's going on?
Well, what it's actually a sexual problem because tomatoes, they are sort of self-pollinating. And if the temperatures are too hot or too cold, the pollen doesn't grow fast enough to the male part, doesn't grow fast enough to the female part. When it's really hot out, the flower will dry up before it gets pollinated. And when it's too cold, they're just too slow to pollinate. So tomatoes they're affected by the temperature. If it's really, really hot out, then of course pollination is not good. And if it's cold, it isn't either. Not much you can do about that. You can just hope for something. It should be better now because the temperature isn't quite so hot.
True. My husband insists on watering the brown grass. I thought we were supposed to wait for rain.
Well, that I'm sure everybody wonders, how long can the grass go without water? Well, Nobody really knows because it varies depending on many different things. The heat, the wind, how high you mow your grass, those kind of things all have an effect on how long grass can go. I looked up a bulletin, a Wisconsin bulletin. They said, well, bluegrass can go 60 days, but that's very variable. So I guess I wouldn't take that. But no, grass typically is situated such that when it's hot and dry and we don't get rain, it will go dormant. And then just the crown of the grass stays alive. And that stays alive for, like I say, for quite a period of time. if you do start watering, of course, and you want to be effective, you have to water all the time.
Right.
Otherwise, it's going to go. It'll take quite a bit of watering to get it to come from being dormant. But then once you stop, if we haven't had rain, it'll get dormant again.
Sure. Someone says, this is a good pumpkin question. Are you supposed to get rid of some flowers on pumpkin vines to produce fewer and more healthy / large pumpkins?
Well, I would guess that probably would help. I don't know if there's any studies or anything done, but it's sort of like apples. If you have a cluster of 5 apples and you take 3 off earlier in the year, of course, the 2 that you leave behind, they will get bigger. So it may help, but and it depends on the conditions. You know, if it's hot and dry like it is now and you're not watering them, they're just not going to grow as fast either. So,
well, and I would think that a lot of people take flowers off of pumpkin vines because if you don't, you're going to get a lot of pumpkins.
Well,
so I'm sure if you want to control the population,
right?
Of
the
pumpkins,
other thing with pumpkins too is they grow all over. They get into everything. So when it gets to the point where it starts getting in your other vegetables or out in your lawn, and you don't want them there, just cut the ends off.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Someone else says, let's see. These are just tickets. JJ's still giving away tickets. He's so busy over there.
I am so busy. I'm giving out so many. I'm getting back to people left and right now.
I know. Good job. Good job. If you have to dig and divide something now because they're building a new patio, do you recommend that? I mean, I guess if you have to, you have to.
It's not great, but if you do, you probably want to cut it back pretty severely before you dig it and divide it.
Okay.
And take as much soil as you can with it. When you get it in a new spot, water it in good. And if you're in the valley where the soil is very heavy, water it in good, but don't overwater, because that's one of our biggest problems here with planting things is people will overwater. And, of course, the water here, if you pour water in a hole here, it sits in the hole for a while. It doesn't go right down. So it's pretty easy to overwater things. So it's not a recommended time to do it. But if you have to do it and it's either that or it's gone, well, give it a shot.
How often do you fertilize?
Well, as far as fertilizing flowers, vegetables, if you're using something like Miracle-Gro, probably no more than every couple of weeks. And the other thing is if you're not, one thing about being dry like it is now, when it's dry like this, and if you're not watering your garden or your flowers, then probably don't fertilize at all, because the fertilizer isn't going to produce anything if we're not getting rain.
Oh, so you need to be watering if you're fertilizing.
If you're fertilizing, you need to be watering. Otherwise, you're just wasting the fertilizer, because the fertilizer will stimulate growth, but it ain't going to happen without moisture.
Sure. Okay, let's get back to the phone lines, Dave. Jeff is next.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Mr. Dave.
Yes.
I have a very large patch of the illustrious Creepy Charlie.
Right.
And my wife calls it AstroTurf, but I want to get rid of it. My problem is I have dogs. Right. Is there anything I can put on it besides that new spruce or not?
I don't know if there is. There may be some organic ways of treating it to control it, but it is hard to get rid of. And as far as spraying weeds to get rid of them, when it's dry, it just doesn't work. You have to spray weeds that are very actively growing. That's why right away, early in the spring, when things are just going like gangbusters, that's a great time to spray them. Or typically after Labor Day, it'll get cooler, we'll have more rain. That's another good time to spray. But in conditions like now, treating it with any kind of herbicide, it would just be throwing the herbicide away. It wouldn't do any good.
Right,
but
right.
You could go online and see if there's some kind of organic control for Creeping Charlie or ground ivy, and see if you can find something. There are things people try, and I'm not sure how effective they are.
Yeah. My wife likes her AstroTurf, but I hate it.
Right. Yeah, you know it's there. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. It just keeps creeping, too.
Right. Keeps spreading. Okay. Right. Oh, thanks for calling.
You bet. Thanks, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Meryl is up next.
Hi, Meryl. Hi, Meryl.
Well, good afternoon, folks.
Yes.
Hi. I planted some cucumbers in the backyard. First of all, I planted them too close together, so they're really growing and they're budding up. But I got a ton of flowers, and it's producing cucumbers. And but it's got a lot of flowers on there, and I was wondering if there's anything I could do to goose them a little bit to make all those flowers turn into cucumbers.
Well, the thing is, cucumbers are a vegetable that cross-pollinates. So what happens is that you get the male flowers. If you look at the flowers on your cucumbers, you get the flower, and then also you get other flowers that got a little teeny cucumber behind them. And the one with the cucumbers behind them, they're the female flowers, and the ones just a flower, they're male flowers. And the male flowers tend to come first, so people get upset because they don't get anything right away. But the pollination, anything you can do that, we used to, when Jack Sunday was here, we would talk about sweeping cucumbers. People would take a broom out there and just sweep over the top to create an air movement to move the pollen from the male flower to the female flower. That could help, but I think right now, good watering and stuff is probably going to do you a lot of good, too, because if they're not getting watered, they're not going to do nearly as good as they could do.
Yeah, and like I say, they're doing pretty well. But
right.
Now, Miracle Grow, would it help?
Yeah, that would be fine if you're watering. Like I said before, if you're not watering, don't do any Miracle Grow.
I'm in the backyard now looking at the flowers as you described them. Yeah, I think I can see the male.
Right, yeah. There's a little teeny cucumber behind the female flower.
Yeah, kind of cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, see, your pumpkins and squash, any of those vine crops are like that.
All right.
Love
you
it.
take care. Thanks.
Sounds great.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Meryl.
bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Plant Talk with horticulturalist Dave Decock here is on the air. Someone said, can you transplant giant fleece flower?
Well, you can, and you could do that. I would guess with that, I would do it right away in the spring, just as they're starting to grow.
Okay.
Yeah, most things right away in the spring when they're starting to grow is good. The only things that wouldn't be is things that flower fairly early in the spring. Then it's best to do them in the fall.
Sure.
Things like peonies and those, the fall is much better.
Someone wants to know if it's true that a drier summer makes the peppers spicier.
Boy, I have no idea.
Okay.
How about JJ? Maybe he knows.
JJ, does a drier summer make the peppers spicier?
I have heard that same old wives' tale, and I couldn't tell you if there's any science behind it, but I think sometimes it just matters, like you think it, and so they are spicier, right?
Sure.
Right.
Now, you did say, though, that this drier summer has led to better hydrangeas in your yard.
Which I can't tell you why. In fact, Dave and I were talking off air about, shouldn't hydrangeas be doing really well in the wet years versus the dry years?
Yes.
Yeah. So they must just have great roots and must be. That's why my lawn is dormant. It's sucking up any moisture we get.
Right.
The hydrangeas are taking it all.
Bingo.
That's why your lawn is brown. Dave, someone says, how can you make wild raspberry produce more, or is it a lost cause?
Well, with wild raspberries, it's pretty much a lost cause. They're never going to be as productive. But it depends where they're growing. If they're growing out in the prairie or something, we used to have, when I was a kid, we had wild raspberries, and we had a meadow, and that's where they were growing. And, of course, with the competition from everything else, the berries and stuff were still small. So the main thing with the wild ones is probably better off if you just get some tame ones, some variety ones, and plant them.
Sure.
And then you're going to get bigger, better fruit. But the other thing with raspberries, too, is there's a lot of viruses the plants can get. So if you're going to plant ones, you want to get some that come from a nursery or greenhouse that are virus-free, so that if you take somebody else's and they've got a virus, of course, that's going to cut down on production, too.
Yeah, good point. I planted bare root lilacs 2 years ago, and some get black spots on the leaves this time of year. Should I use a fungicide? Do you recommend fertilizing them?
Well, I don't know that. The problem with fungicides, that's good if you're really desperate, but fungicides are something that when you put it on, if it rains or you water, and you get water on the leaves, of course, it washes the fungicide off. Fungicides basically keep the organism from getting into the leaf. I would say maybe the other possibility, too, maybe it's that they planted bare root. Maybe they're not well enough established, and maybe if they were more well established, we had more rain, you probably wouldn't have the black spots.
Okay.
I mean, you can use a fungicide, but I guess I wouldn't. I don't think it's worth the effort.
Do you think fertilizing them would help?
Well, it would stimulate growth, but as dry as it is, putting fertilizer down isn't going to gain you anything either because they don't have the moisture. If they don't have moisture, the fertilizer won't be used.
Okay. Someone said, I think I killed my hydrangeas by overwatering. The roots are wet and the leaves fell off.
Well, that's possible. I suppose you could do it here, but hydrangeas tend to be water lovers. You look at their name, they're hydro, and hydro means water, so they do like a lot of moisture. But they do good in areas where it's not as wet, too. So it's possible. If the leaves just fell off this year, you can just leave them and let them come back in the spring and see what happens. And if it was something else and the leaves just fell off for another reason, come spring and they come back, they may be okay. So if I wanted to replace them, I guess I would wait till spring and see if you get growth again.
Yeah, I was going to say, you never know. They might come back.
They may come back. Yeah. Maybe they look worse than they really are.
Right.
Dave, how diligent do you have to be about getting rid of elm tree seeds? Because this year seemed to be a very prolific year.
They always come up all over.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, it's like any other seedling, if they're in the lawn, you keep mowing them off, I suppose they're going to die. So otherwise, they're a nuisance. So if you can hoe them out in a garden or flower bed, that's good. The longer you wait, of course, the bigger they get, the harder they are to get out.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's not much else you can do because they fly all over.
What about volunteers underneath an evergreen tree? Is there anything I can do to take care of those? I mean, I seem to have weeds, which I can pull, but it's almost like I'm getting a bunch of little tiny trees underneath there every now and then.
You could spray them. You could use a good spray for hard to control weeds. But as dry as it is, it probably wouldn't work now. But after Labor Day, get something that would work for Creeping Charlie or a hard to control weed and spray them, and hopefully that'll take care of them.
And that won't hurt the evergreen itself?
No, it won't hurt the evergreen as long as you keep it just on the ground on them. And you don't want to be spraying around and getting it on the evergreen needles and stuff. It probably wouldn't hurt the evergreen, but there's no use taking that chance.
Okay. When it comes to those apple trees right now, is there anything that we should be doing before, other than squirrels, which I agree, they take one bite and then they throw the apple off. They don't even have the dignity of working down to the core on them.
Oh, no, of course not. They know it. They take a bite and it doesn't taste good, so they throw it and take another one,
Is there anything we should be doing right now?
Even when they're getting ripe, they'll take a bite out and throw it and go get another one. So.
Yeah, I hate those little buggers.
I know. They're just about as bad as rabbits.
They almost are, right? Oh, actually, this is another good question. I had friends who had a good amount of rabbit damage over the last winter with eating bark around, and you can see right where the snow level happened to be. Is there anything that they should be doing for those areas where the bark had been stripped so poorly?
Well, I would guess if it was last winter, that plant, if it's growing now, if this was really damaging, the top would be dead by now.
Okay.
But you can take latex water-based house paint and paint over that area, or there are pruning paints and wound dressings you could put on too. I don't know that it would make much difference, but it'd probably make it look a little bit better. Because if it's still growing and the top's all leafed out and okay, then they probably didn't eat deep enough or enough to kill the whole thing.
They said the tree was only about 11 years old. So, I mean, young compared to a tree. So what should they do to prep for next winter on that?
Well, you can get like chicken wire and put that around, make it into a cylinder. Or you also get this. If the tree is small enough, you know how when you buy a new tree now, it has this white
the tube around it, yeah?
Right. If they get some of those too and put them around, it'll go all the way around the trunk. Put those on. The other thing that'll work is if you get some flexible drain pipe. They have a flexible drain pipe with the holes in it. People put drain.
Yeah.
You could take that and take a knife or a razor blade knife and cut one side, and so you can spread it open and then slip it over the trunk and put that on for the winter. And that way they can't get to it.
And only I should be taking it off during the summer then?
Right.
During the growing season?
Every insect that who would be exposed likes to be underneath because they're protected.
Oh, so I'm making a habitat for the bugs then. Oh, right. Darned if I do, darned if I don't.
Right. Well, if you don't and the rabbits come back, they'll probably finish you off.
Plant Talk with Horticulturalist Dave Decock is on the air. Dave, let's go to the phone lines. Lee is waiting for you.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, Dave.
Yes.
I got a question for you on green beans. We planted green beans in our garden this year.
Right.
And they've just all gone to green foliage, and we're hardly getting any beans.
Boy, I guess I can't imagine what the problem would, why that would happen. I know my green beans, I know what the problem was then. The dang rabbits got in and they cleaned them up for me. But no, I don't. The only thing I can think that might be a problem, is that if the nutrient level in the garden, if the nitrogen level is high in the garden, plants will tend to produce more foliage and less produce. So that would be the only thing that comes to mind that might cause them not to have many beans.
Okay, it's just really strange because we've got peas on one side, and the peas are just doing very well.
Right.
The other side, we've got a climbing bean. It's kind of a flat, long bean. And
right.
These are, I think we planted yellow and green beans, and man, they were coming like everything, and they bloomed, and boy, we've just got just a handful of beans.
Right. I guess I don't know of any reason. I'm sure there is a reason, but I don't know what it would be. Why the beans would be nice and healthy looking and just not flower.
Okay.
The only thing I can think. Go ahead.
No, I was just curious if you had any answer for that.
No, the only thing I know that will tend to cause that to happen would be high nitrogen levels, but the other beans next to them are fine, so that kind of discounts that as having any value.
Okay.
But
all right.
You could do that. You could do it you could do a search on the internet too and see what comes up. There might be some clue there.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, Lee. Thanks for calling. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the call, Lee. Someone said, speaking of rabbits, how do I get them out of my yard? I mean, I guess that's the $1 million question,
That's a $1
right?
million question, yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a fence, what I used to have is I had a chain link fence, and then I put chicken wire inside, on my side inside. I buried the bottom so they couldn't crawl under, and that worked pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
you physically have to have something to keep the little buggers out, because if you don't, there are repellents, but that only works as long as the repellent stays on the leaves. And if it rains or you water and get the leaves wet, it tends to wash it off. So, but a physical keeping them away is your best solution.
Physical barrier is kind of the only option.
Right, reliable. It's the only reliable way to go.
Yes. What is causing? Oh, we haven't. Has there been a lot of tomato blight this year? I don't know. I'm not growing tomatoes.
There really shouldn't be.
There shouldn't be, right?
No, there really shouldn't be, because the dry conditions, fungal diseases don't do very good in dry conditions because they need to have moisture on the leaves to get into the leaf.
Okay.
And now if you're watering them, and say you water in the evening all the time and you soak the foliage of the plant down, of course, then you're going to more likely have a fungal disease. But typically, we haven't had anybody call in or send a message about it yet. So
no, we haven't.
Obviously, it's not much of a problem this year.
Yeah.
And with tomato blight, it starts on the bottom leaves first. And you'll start to see the bottom leaves will get yellow spots and they'll get brown spots. And it works its way up. So if the bottom leaves are starting to show those symptoms, that's the time to get a fungicide and start using it.
Sure. I was just surprised. Usually by now we're getting questions about
it typically would be. If it was a wet year, we'd have lots of tomato blight.
What's there's another old wives' tale about that. Was it not hydrogen peroxide, but what did people used to say? Oh, you put this on your tomatoes for that.
I think it was calcium.
That's what it was, yes. And it was like...
Yeah,
they're emptying whole things of milk out there, right? Is what they were doing?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Now that you say that.
Yeah. There's a lot of old wives' tale.
There are.
It's like rhubarb's got a lot of them, too.
They do. And you know what? If that makes you feel good, go for it. But it might not be actually doing anything.
It's not going to hurt anything.
Oh, what was the old wives' tale? That you can't eat it after a frost or something?
Well,
that's one of them.
That's one, yeah. And you should stop harvesting at a certain time during the year.
Yeah.
There's even about eating it raw was one of them, too, that like eating raw rhubarb is bad for you if you eat it in the morning, but not in the afternoon. Rhubarb is a crazy little fruit vegetable.
Little deal,
yeah. Like a lot of people, I think people just make it up because they avoided trying to eat it themselves.
Right.
That's what they're trying to do there.
Crazy kind of, did you call it a fruit vegetable?
Yeah, because it's technically a vegetable, right? Well, but to me, it's fruit.
Yeah, it depends. It depends what you eat it as.
right?
It's like tomatoes. Tomatoes can be considered a fruit if it's used as a sauce.
Right.
But if you're using it, on burgers or whatever, sliced tomatoes,
Right.
then it's a salad or vegetable.
Okay. I like that.
We're just making it up as we go along
right.
for
We
most
really
days
are.
when it
It
comes to
sounds-
whatever you pull out of your garden.
It sounds good.
Sugar snap peas. Sure, it's sugar. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Someone said that's because there are a lot of old wives.
You're right.
There's some truth.
It's a knee slapper. Okay.
And they're the
what-
ones spending all the time in the garden on most days too, right?
Right.
Really, you two?
They are, right? Like
What?
that's where my wife comes, and that's where she comes up. Like she loves your slug trick
Right.
with the pie pan and like a little bit of beer in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I'm always like, well, what did you do with the rest of the can of beer? I know you didn't put a whole can
I
of beer in
drank
there.
it all.
Yeah, and she's like, it was a hot day.
Yeah, right.
It's a hot day.
That was
What?
a winner.
what is causing the marigolds to turn brown?
Well, see, marigolds are pretty susceptible to spider mites. And spider mites, they suck sap out of the leaves. And the plants, when you get enough spider mites on, they will actually turn brown. But what you could do with them is take your water hose, put the spray nozzle on, and just really spray them down good. And if it's spider mites, it'll tend to wash them off. Now, there are diseases they can get too, like Asper's yellows, and then they'll be stunted and be yellowish in color, the leaves. But spider mites are really a problem on, and a year like this where we don't get rain, of course, it's great for spider mites because the heavy rain will wash them off the plants.
Mm. Okay, so one of those dry year things that we're
Right,
seeing
it
pop
tends-
up.
yeah.
Dave Decock, host of Plant Talk here on KFGO, brought to you by Thompson Greenery, Strand Ace Hardware, Buffalo River Sales, Chisholm Trail Farm, the Garden of Healing, and Jean's the Right Plant Place. We'll see you again back next Thursday from 1 to 2 o'clock.
Sounds great. I'll be here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.